Hello and welcome. You're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live conversation web television. This is one portal where all of you can take part as the conversation is ensuing. You can write into us with your posts, your audio and video comments, and also tweet us your comments at #IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. Well, the International Labour Organization, or the ILO, has dedicated 12th of June to the day as World Day Against Child Labour. This was to basically focus on the global effort to eradicate the problem of child labour. Today is the 12th of June 2014. Even as we speak, in India, there are over 60 million children who are working as rag pickers, making bricks, packaging firecrackers, embroidering on silk saris, making carpets, or as domestic help. The issue of child labour is real, and unfortunately it is discussed only on days such as this, but at least a discussion is happening on www.indiapostlive.com. Please write in with your comments as we take part in, I would like all of you to take part in this conversation. First, let's take a look at this audiovisual.
India, despite being one of the founding members of the International Labour Organization, has not been able to eradicate child labour. Despite passing a law aimed at fighting child labour by making education compulsory up to the age of 14, India has the largest number of child labourers in the world, and this excludes the number of child domestic workers. In the wake of World Day Against Child Labour, can we hope for our country where our little ones can enjoy their childhood instead of being a part of our workforce?
All right, so can we hope for a country where little children are not deprived of their childhood? That is the question we are asking today on this conversation. Like I said, all of you are welcome. You are requested to take part in this very serious social issue. Joining me in the studio, I have Shubhendu Bhattacharjee. He is the General Manager of Child Rights in You, that's CRY. Shubhendu, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I also have with me Basu Rai. Basu Rai has a very, very interesting story. He was on the streets himself when he was as little as 4 years old. We will, of course, hear his story, and I'm also joined online by our guests. I have Reshmi Bhaskaran. Reshmi is the head of knowledge management, NEG Fire. She joins us online. Reshmi, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Hi, Reshmi. I have Shahbaz. Shahbaz is project coordinator, Haq Center for Child Rights. He also joins us online. Shahbaz, thank you so much for joining the conversation. And also, I have Sumedha Kailash. Sumedha Kailash is director Bal Ashram of the Bachpan Bachao Andolan. Sumedha ji, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I'm also joined by Hasina. Hasina joins us through Skype. Hasina Kharbi. She's a consultant with Impulse NGO Network. She joins us through Skype from Shillong. Hasina, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Welcome. All right, so this very grave issue of child labor. First, let's get you Basu Rai's story. Basu, welcome to the conversation again.
Thank you very much.
Tell me your story, Basu.
Well, so when a story comes, like, when I remember my past, it really hurts me sometimes. But since my story is going to help people or make people understand what is reality about the child labor, what they feel about it, especially street children and the orphans. Well, I was the small child when I was when I ended up on the street of Kathmandu. I was just like 4 years old when my dad got paralysis and he died. And then I didn't have any choice. So I came on the street of Kathmandu, and then a very first day I was welcomed with a gang who beat me very badly. and
They thrashed you, is it?
yeah, no, they punched me and all. I was like spilling blood out, and because they thought like I was from another gang.
And you were 4 years old.
I was 4 years old. They thought like which gang I'm from. So I could not speak properly because my voice was not clear, because I was just 4 years old and I didn't know what's going on, because I had a life with my father at home and this was the first day.
What about your mother? Where was your mother?
Mother was she left me when I was like 6 months old, because she wanted to become supermodel. Kind of, she had different belief to become. So something like my father had something, and then like that's how, like, you know, family declined.
Split.
Yeah. So then I came on the street, and the another gang, I don't know who.
How did you survive, Basu? What did you do? Yeah.
I was like almost unconscious, but one big guy came, and then like he asked me from which gang I was. So he saw the blood all over, and then he said, okay, I need help. So he called some friend, and then he took me and then to the hospital, and they helped me, this people. And when it happened, when I got all right, then he said like you are first, I mean like you are the new in this street, so you should be a part of someone, so gang. And that was a different gang. So he taught me the rules. Then I got part of his gang. And since I was very small, I could not do anything, so they taught me how to beg, and then I started.
So you
begging.
became a beggar. Okay.
I became a beggar, and that was the simple job which I could do. And then like later on, like when I little bit grown up, I worked in this eatery like dhaba, and I became like domestic servant, and then I worked in carpet for 2-3 months. Like
you made carpets also?
Yeah, and then like I was like moving like this only, because you know, whenever like I used to work in certain place, that I used to have a different bad experience. Like I was working in dhaba, so one day like I broke something, and like this owner was not so good, so he beat me very badly. So I felt that I should not work here, so I ran away from that place. I used to keep run away from the different places, and later on I became a pickpocketer. I mean like when I grown up little bit, so they taught me how to pickpocket.
The gang taught you?
Yeah, because that was like they thought they were doing this thing, and but very first time, like when I did that, my hands were shaking, and
I'm
then, like,
sure.
I didn't know. I mean, like, if I get caught?
Did you get caught? Did you get arrested?
Yes, I got caught. That was the very horrible thing. Like, how like children change. I mean, like how I changed. Means like one day I got caught, and then like the crowd got furious, and they started to beat me. Even I was like very small.
How old were you? How old were you then?
I was almost 7 something. So
Okay.
I was very small. So they started to beat me, and then they didn't think that I was a child. So they treat me as I was just a
a common thief.
So they did not realize that even I was child, and then like I got beaten very badly, and then I said, oh, please stop. But there was one old lady. She recognized, okay, this is a child, and then she tried to save me. But that time I was almost like everything was hazy at that time. So some police came and they took me away. So then that's how I got, and then I got treated, and the police fellow were laughing that, you got the lesson today. So that's how the life was there.
You became violent also, Basu.
Yes, the reason is this, like I got beaten very badly in this, and then there was a guy, he said like, next time when you get caught, I was small, so I could not pull hand and all, so I could not escape also. So they gave me the knife, so if anybody it's anybody catch you and all, so then you can just like stab it. So why we used to stab is like when we stab.
So you actually stabbed people?
I mean like I had to do, because now I was like very much violent, because I had a anger with the
deep-rooted
public,
anger.
right? The reason is like I tried to work, I tried to do lots of things, which I could do, but that did not work. I did rack picking also, that did not work, right? So this time they taught me new job, and my gang was the thing who I can believe nicely. So then when like people sometime like it happens like people caught me and then like I could not do that, and I remember the same incident that they used to beat me very badly.
Then you became violent.
And
You
then-
reacted
yeah,
violently.
and then I used to stab. So once I stabbed, what happens? I used to bleed, and then people used to cry also, yell, and then people used to come. The Kathmandu gully is very small gully. Once you enter one gully, then you cannot catch the person. So,
you would
that's,
escape.
That's how I used to escape. So that's all happened, but I got the chance. They were very good people, like some NGO people.
They pulled you out of the
yeah.
streets, right?
Yeah, they were the partner of Bachpan Bachao Andolan. That's the Civil child workers in Nepal. So they rescued me from. One day I was I remember this thing. I was like sick. I had a fever, and then I was like almost this time also I'm almost died. And then these people, I didn't know what time they picked me up. I was unconscious. When I saw myself, I was in their place. So and then later on they gave me chance to be in their place, and then they used to give some kind of like if I want to stay there, if I want to eat something, I had to draw. So that's how they used to. They had kind of NGO people. They had kind of lots of backful ideas. So I liked that. So then I started draw, and then like I became a part of that. Later on I became a part of Global March Against Child Labor when I got all right. So this and then I met Mr. Kailash Satyarthi. He is the founder of Bachpan Bachao Andolan and chairperson of Global March. So there I met him.
So how did you, very quickly, I mean, I understand you were pulled off the streets by these NGOs, you met, and then you became a part of the Global March Against Child Labor.
Right.
You even traveled abroad, right?
Yes, I traveled many countries. For 6 months I was traveling and meeting with President, Prime Minister, different. Even I met with this John Pope also once in the Vatican City. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So how did you get educated after that? Who educated? Who gave you education?
Well, I was in Bachpan Bachao Andolan. I told you that once, like in 1999, I came to the Bachpan Bachao Andolan, and then like I started my studying stuff also.
How old were you when you were picked off the streets?
I was 8.
You were 8. So for 4 years of your life, you saw that horror.
Oh my
You
God.
lost your childhood.
Yeah, that was the horrible thing. That's why today I'm here. I got agreed to speak here, and then like
And you've also written a book, Basu. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, this book is all about my story. I cannot, like, it takes like maybe hour if we start to stay and talk about this. This book tells each and every moment of the street. How did I feel? How did my other fellows felt? What we did. That all comes in this story. And then it also helps. Like, it's not understanding just child labor. It makes people think. I mean, like, feel it actually.
All right. Okay, thank you, Basu. That was Basu's story for us. So that has kind of set the mood and set the framework for the rest of the discussion that we're going to have today. Shubhendu, let me ask you what Basu has just told us, and what the figures we have, the numbers we have, more than 60 million people in India. It's not just about working, it's not just about depriving these children of health, of education. It is depriving these people of their childhood, their innocence. Tell us about that. Why is India not being able to curb this problem?
After listening to Basu's story, I'm a little emotional also.
I know. We were all emotional.
There are millions of children who don't take it other, who are not as lucky as Basu.
Yes, absolutely. He's lucky. He got picked up within 4 years. He got picked up.
As you know, there is a debate, there is a very thin line between children in need and care and protection and children in conflict with law.
Yeah.
So take the case of Basu. If he was not rescued at the age of 8, he would have become an ardent criminal.
Absolutely.
And advocates must have been saying that age should be lowered further. Juvenile Justice Act should be lowered further. I'm bringing this debate because the debate is on regarding child labor. For either it should be 14 or 18.
Right.
So advocates of juvenile justice are saying, anti-juvenile justice are saying that it should be lowered down. Take the example of Basu. So cry is a cry. We believe that there should be proper care and protection of each child.
Yes.
Otherwise, they might turn up because of the context and situation where children would be conflicting with the law.
Right.
I'm coming to the main point now. The debate is going on whether it should be 14 years or it should be 18 years.
18 years, right.
But it should be 18 years. Complete prohibition of child labor. And child labor has to be seen with other issues like children in begging. CRY has been working on the begging issue in MP and UP. We have observed that children are forced in begging. What happened with Basu? And they are they are made disabled, so they do the begging for the
Yeah.
gang.
Yeah.
So gang is working in Delhi, gang is working in Agra. gang
It's a
is
mafia-like situation.
yeah, it's a complete mafia raj, you'll find it. So we are working with this, we've done survey, like recently I've done survey of 1,000 children in begging in Bhopal. And we came out the startling facts that there are different reasons for which they are on the streets.
All right.
But in always it is not a gang, there are some other areas where parents are pushing their children for begging.
Right.
So there are government programs also, ICPS program, sponsorship program. So by doing this survey, we could advocate with ICPS department to ensure sponsorship of these children. Now we are regularly following up that money is being spent for the cause of children, whether it is not going to the hands of parents or some other gangs or not.
Okay, let me just bring in Sumedha over here. Sumedha Kailash, Director Bal Ashram Bachpan Bachao Andolan. Sumedha ji, you know, this entire problem that Shubhendu has raised about the begging. Also, there is another issue that I would like to flag up when it comes to child labor, the issue of trafficking of little children for slavery and for sexual abuse. What have your experiences been like in that?
आपने अभी बापू की बात कर ली, तो बाकी जैसे बहुत सारे बच्चों को दला पुस्ता के दलाल को गाँव से गरीबी के नाम से उनको बाहर बड़े बड़े शहरों में ले जाया जाता है।
Right.
तो हमारे घरों पढ़े लिखे जो परिवार हैं उनको एक सहायता की जरूरत होती है, जिससे माध्यम से इसको लगा दिया जाता है। तो आप देखेंगे इनके साथ इतना भ्रष्टाचार होता है, इतना अत्याचार होता है कि आप रोज अखबारों में आप देखते हैं काम के बहाने के साथ सारे शोषण भी होता है, साथ साथ सुबह 6 बजे से लेकर रात के 12 बजे तक उनको आराम करने का
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so Sumedha ji, 1 minute. Let me just bring in the others also and talk about their. Can I bring in Hasina, please? Hasina, hi. Hasina, can you just speak up a bit louder?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Hasina. Hasina, you have been working with the rescued children in Shillong, right?
Yeah, we work in the Northeast Impulse NGO network.
Huh.
We work in the 8 states of the Northeast, and we primarily work a lot with trafficking of children across the border of India, Bangladesh, India, Nepal.
Right.
And with specific to also children trafficked to the coal mines, rat coal mining in Meghalaya.
All right.
And I mean, for us today, it's very an important day because our PIL that we have filed with the National Green Tribunal, we got the order on day before yesterday that all the mining has been shut down. So the mining in Meghalaya, which actually used children in the coal mines,
Okay.
has been banned and completely banned and shut down. So I think this is a journey of 7 years that we celebrate to say that at least the children who are being employed by these mine owners in the rat coal mining
Yeah.
are actually going to get remedies and rehabilitation. And at the same time, it's going to prevent a lot of children to be coming and being used in the rat coal mining, which is very hazardous.
Wonderful. We have some good news that
here I have a
Hasina gave
different
us.
point of
Yeah,
view.
sure.
I think, yeah, it's a welcome step. What happened, I know in Meghalaya, this coal mining is banned.
Yeah.
But what result I can see, being I also from there. Now there are laborers who are bringing their families to the coal mines. Now in this situation, if there is no proper rehabilitation of the parents as well as the children, there is chances that children would be starving, parents would be starving, and they might take the route of
No, the
criminality.
battle goes on. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a simple issue. It's a very
Therefore,
complex issue.
we believe that we have to do work on multi-pronged strategies together. Rescue,
multi-pronged, yes.
rehabilitation, and enabling parents.
Right.
If you do not enable parents, there is a chance that this child might come on road again.
Absolutely.
And this is the experience.
Hasina, would you like to react to that?
I would really like to react to that. I said, being a founder of this organization for the last 20 years, and the team at the organization working almost for 7 years on this issue, which is called the rat hole mining in Meghalaya, and having been based here, I would say this is a welcome step because
Of course
for
welcome
30 long years, nobody has managed to actually ban the mining in Meghalaya at all. And the state government has not even managed to bring in scientific mining in any way, nor they were welcoming any kind of scientific mining. So the demand of children, there were more than 70,000 children being brought across the border. And very often when these children are brought from across the border of Bangladesh, very often they are being called illegal migrants in the state of Meghalaya. So the whole issue of children getting their rights or identification of their rights doesn't really come to the government because they call it illegal migrant coming to work in the coal mines.
Right.
But I think as an organization that worked for child rights and an organization that took this campaign for 7 long years, I think the ban on this mine, one way is that at least it's going to prevent the future recruitment of children in the mining industry, which
Right.
is very
So
important.
that is a
Very
positive. Yes. Okay. Let me bring in Shahbaz now. Shahbaz is project coordinator, Haq Center for Child Rights. Shahbaz, the amendment of the Child Labor Act, which put a blanket ban of child labor below the age of 14 and compulsory education. But it is a reality that children are being employed in the brick kilns, in the factories making carpets, as domestic help. Where have we gone wrong, Shahbaz? Where have we as citizens, as policymakers in the government, where have we gone wrong where children are not getting to live their childhood?
Actually, I think we have to look at the social reality of our country. For more or less than 40% of our population is living below the poverty line. So, but poverty can not be the justification of child labor. So, and what we have observed over the years due to globalization and neoliberal policies, government and the weak implementation of child labor law has basically means the number of child laborers are increasing. So I think as a citizen, if we talk, I think we are not concerned with our children.
So we don't care. Is that what you're saying? We don't care?
We don't care. Actually, we don't care about our children.
This is not the case.
And we basically expose them to the in the adult life at the age of 9, 10, and when they start, like the boy here has mentioned about his story, that how then they also learn about the different delinquency and other behavior like an adult because they are living the adult life. So such changes we can see, and the childhood loss basically during the process.
Right.
And we have very weak and ineffective law. It's a valid weapon. It's only 3 months, up to 3 months of jail can be given to the person. And I think not even 1% of the employer were put under this.
Right. Yeah, that's a very important issue I think he's raised. Yeah. Right.
And one more issue that we have found out that even countries, lawmakers, and they are not interested to do
Right.
it. Like since
Political will is lacking.
this
All
law
right.
was made, political will is lacking.
Right. Okay. Shahbaz. Let me bring in Reshmi Bhaskaran now. Reshmi Bhaskaran is head knowledge management, NEG Fire. Reshmi, hi. You've been listening to Basu's story. You've been listening to quite a few perspectives that we've got from our other guests. Let me ask you one question. Why has not India ratified the convention number 182 of the ILO, which talks of the worst form of child labor? Why hasn't India done that yet?
See, I think from the previous discussion, I can easily make out that we still not have a political will, and even society is also not realize that
Right.
child labor is a ill rather than a many people when you move outside, right? We forget about the children who are working on the streets and farms and other things. Think about the children who are working in our own households. Like housemaids. No, we just keep them and retain them, abuse them and say, believing that no, we are doing some kind of good thing rather than something actually spoiling the entire childhood of the child. So then actually our attitude towards children and children's requirement, needs, and then it's completely different. We don't have a concern for another person and other person's future. That's what this is actually, still we can't change because this Child Labor Act amendment, it's actually came in 1986, and we were trying to bring the amendment already we were bringing the first form of the three forms into that, but in the last 2 years we tried a lot, but we are not able to make it. Even when Parliament is taking it forward, they can't even bring it to the floor and make it pass. But see, if once they are passing some Parliament, the country, state, and citizen has certain things towards the children, that we have to bring a lot of systems in order.
All right.
And also create a lot of support services. Children should not go out. Children actually now the Compulsory Education Act is there.
All
so
right.
Then, according to the law, every child who belongs to the age of 6 to 40 should be to school.
Should be going to school, exactly. Should be playing, Okay, let me bring in some data now. Shubhendu, I would like to take a look at some of the, let's bring in a graphic here on the instances, the state of, child labor and child abuse, globally and also state-wise in our own country. Child labor has dropped worldwide. Yeah, that's a good thing. This is a positive. We're looking at a 12-year, period here where child labor and children doing hazardous work, when they are exposed to a lot of chemicals and they're exposed to, any kind of physical hazard, that both these numbers have dropped, albeit slightly, but it's dropped. Okay, let's take a look at India now. In India, these are the states where child labor has decreased. Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan very slightly, Maharashtra and Karnataka. That's the percentage of child labor, and we're looking at a period of 2004-05 to a period of 2009-10. This is according to the NSSO, the National Sample Survey Office data. Okay, but there are states where it has increased, and that is Uttarakhand, West Bengal, Gujarat, Bihar and Assam. Uttarakhand seems to be tremendous. Okay.
Reason, I can tell you the reason.
Yeah, please demystify this result.
One state you have missed out is Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay.
It's a very interesting data where we are working for a couple of years.
Surely, tell us.
I'm bringing here this fact because poverty is not the only reason of child labor. It's poverty, it's consumerism, it is a domestic violence within the home. There are main reasons. If you take the example of Kashmir, it's a conflict zone.
Yeah.
Particularly children are afraid of going for school outside when there is regular curfew, regular movement of state and non-state actors, which is forcing children to sit idle, and parents are pushing them to work. And once they are into the work, it's a trap. They will not be coming out from the work to school.
Right.
Similarly, in case of I'm coming down, if you see Delhi data, you raise a point like missing children issue, raise it earlier. Delhi, as per government RTI data, 18 children get lost every day. This is not my data, this is RTI data.
RTI, 18 children get lost every day.
Every day from Delhi. Why are these children are going? These children are being trafficked either for forced work or for forcing them to prostitution, or offline it is coming. It's not established till there are many other regions. So if you take the example of Commonwealth Games, how many buildings, roads have been constructed in Delhi, and people are migrated from different parts of India, and you can see the children who are on roads.
And also, Shubhendu, India, let me just add to that, and then you can continue. India is also the world's largest destination and source and transit of human trafficking.
Correct. I'm coming another point.
Surely.
There are a particular community in India. I'm bringing example from UP. They're called Bachra and Badia community. They are 12 years girl is forced into prostitution by, they do not have father. It's a traditional involvement in prostitution. 12 years girl, you can see they're forced into prostitution.
Right.
They are selling their body to earn money. So this is also one form of child labor which is not being considered in the policy domain. There's a big problem in the definition itself. India has not signed the ILO convention
Yes.
because it is making a distinction between working labor and child labor. The sibling care part, because of sibling care, see, our joint family is destroying. There is lopsided development across India. So there is a big discussion is going on. India will have 100 more new cities. Oh my God, I can imagine how many children would be coming on streets. Because if India is pursuing for lopsided development, if developments are happening only in cities, children would be on streets, children would be migrating along with their parents. There are examples in Delhi when children come from Bundelkhand and other areas, West Bengal, Assam, this part, eastern part and Jodhpur area. When they landed up in Delhi, if they want to get education, they don't get admission in school.
Absolutely.
Although RTE Act is there,
Yeah.
because they do not have proof. Why? In such circumstances, parents, they do not have other option. Parents are putting them into work.
Right.
And once they are into work, they will not be able to come
go
out.
to school.
There is regular corporal punishment in school, but children do not like to go to school, fearing that teacher will beat them. But teachers should understand these children are working morning and evening. They are going to school. They are not able to do their regular homework. But insensitive teachers do not understand this. And slowly, these children go to
very,
back
very
seat.
nuanced
Go
social
to back
issue.
seat and one day they go out from the window and they don't come
And
back.
they don't come back.
And
All
they
right.
become
Let me bring in-
one of the children like him as a Basu, as a 16 million children. This
Yeah.
is the reality.
Right. Okay, let me, can I bring in Sumedha once again? Sumedha, you have, okay, we'll try and, Sumedha, आपने, you just spoke of the global march against child labor which Bachpan Bachao Andolan has done. And you have raised this demand once again that India should ratify the ILO Convention 182 and 138 on minimum age of employment. What can happen at the central level? हर साल इसी दिन पे ये बहस होती है, चर्चा होती है, लेकिन सरकार क्या कर सकती है अभी? एंड क्या उम्मीद करती हैं आप सरकार से कि ये जो इशू है, ये प्रॉब्लम है चाइल्ड लेबर का, ये खत्म हो जाए? Sumedha ji, could you hear me? Okay, I think we seem to be having a problem with that. All right, let me now bring in Hasina. Hasina, I was just asking the same question. I'll ask you the same question. There has been a demand that India should ratify 182 of the ILO Convention. But it's not yet done that. The demand is there, and every year only on certain days we bring up the issue. What can happen from the state governments and the central government so that this issue gets the focus it should, ideally?
Well, I think for our experience of Impulse NGO Network, I think situation like PIL against agencies or industry which is actually recruiting children as child labor.
Yeah.
Are being taken up. It's a very important element to remind the state that they cannot actually have any kind of industry whatsoever where children are being employed as child labor. So it's a very important component that I think as organization working on child labor issues, it does not restrict that only providing support or providing services and engaging into rehabilitation.
Right.
But it's also engaging into policy level where the state has to take cognizance of the fact that any kind of economic development they are trying to bring forward, they should ensure that children are not being recruited. And I think that's a strong message where actually it brings into the ILO convention as well, because then it really supports that. Whether
Right.
it's supported much more in a very structured manner.
But as Shubhendu pointed out, it's a nuanced situation. It's a very multi-layered situation. Parents themselves, give permission for their children to work. There's poverty. The children get beaten up at schools. They don't want to go to schools. They get beaten up at home. There is domestic. There are so many issues. So, do you see light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, I think what I feel is that if today most of us as organization working for child labor in the country really come and look into perspective to really review. I mean, we have the right to education, we have, and I mean, basically right to education, make it necessary that there should be education for all children. We're looking at the different programs and activities and scheme which is already available.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are working towards just addressing only when the affected children and child labor. I mean, that's important. It's a very important element. We do that. But we should not forget that we also have to really ensure that this legal right and legal policy has to have legal action.
Right.
And legal action
Right.
should go hand in hand into
All
our
right.
intervention.
All right, Hasina, thank you. Let me bring in.
Little point here.
Yeah.
See, law itself is not a panacea, because our mindset, societal mindset, has not accepted 18 years.
What everybody is saying here is that people are not being penalized. No, that is
Of
that
course,
is an
it's
issue.
true, but there is a problem in the law. It's 14 to 18 now. New amendment is saying 14 to 18 there will be adolescent. I think this is ridiculous. If even India signed UNCRC, United Nations Children's Convention, it is 18. Now it is ridiculous to bring amendment saying that up to 18 all kind of work is prohibited, and 14 to 18 for adolescent it will be regulation. So
The
this is
debate was
ridiculous.
brought up after
Now-
the Nirbhaya.
No, there is another issue. Law can be up to 18 years. Juvenile Justice Act is up to 18 years, but our mindset is still 14 years. So there is a whole lot of problem in the mindset.
Okay.
We are not considering them as children because they are 16 years old. They may talk like adult. They are not adult.
They are not yet
Another
adults.
point of view I would like to bring in the context of Basu. In India, there is no crash system available. Now both father and mother are working. No crash system, 0 to 6 is not part of your fundamental rights. 14, 18 are not part of your fundamental rights. Another point of view, many people see child labor problem from education lenses. Education is the very important means.
Yeah.
But at the same time, children should not be abused. What Basu has said,
Yeah.
children are subject
His
to
issue was-
sexual and physical abuses many times.
Yes.
Psychological
Starting
abuses
right
happen
from
to children.
home. His emotional trauma started when he was 6 months old.
This
His
is what
mother
I-
left him.
Family breaking down.
The family broke down. Right.
Violence
That-
at the home.
Yeah.
Society is not sensitive enough the children's
Right.
rights.
Right.
Then they are coming on the streets. They are beaten up, physically abused,
Right.
sexually abused,
Yes.
mentally abused.
Right.
They become violent. All this
Can I bring Reshmi now? Can I bring Reshmi now? Reshmi, your final comments on the overall perspective and what exactly do we see any light at all at the end of the tunnel?
Is it clear?
You couldn't
Hello?
hear me, Reshmi?
Can you feel it?
Okay, we seem to be having an audio problem there. Can I go to Shahbaz now while we get Reshmi's audio back? Shahbaz, your final comments, please.
I think I completely agree what Shubhendu has shared here. The whole
Can you
issue,
speak
I
a little
think-
louder,
I think
Shahbaz?
people-
A little louder.
I think I completely agree with what Shubhendu has said. I think we need to look at this issue at 2-3 levels. I think first, we have to basically empower our families. We have to introduce some programs which will strengthen the family so that the family should not send the children to the labor. The other issue is, I think, the institutional mechanism. So if I think we have to look at the prevention and the curative approach. So if a child comes into labor field, so into the labor, so I think we should have the mechanisms where if a person is employing a child, this person should be booked and should be penalized
Yes.
for his or her actions.
Stringent
I think which is lacking in our
measures,
country.
yes, absolutely. Shahbaz is
Stringent laws.
Yeah.
I think the present law is in the parliament from last 2 years, but it hasn't moved. We are hoping that this government will pass this
Right.
labor.
Thank you.
It's adolescent labor act.
Thank you, Shahbaz.
So
Thank you.
I hope this government will.
Yeah, thank you, Shahbaz. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. A very nice point that you raised, the stringent laws. Okay, all right, let me bring in Reshmi. Reshmi, if you can hear me now, your final comments before we wrap up this conversation in the studio.
Yeah, see, I will tell you one thing. Now we are actually fighting for the law, because many laws have been here, like child abuse, sex abuse, everything we do have. But still, looking at the number of the abuses increasing every day,
Yeah.
that shows that the law is not actually making people to reduce what they are in. Rather, we need to have systems to actually make people to empower or aware, that the harm is going to affect the other person, that they are going to fight it. So we actually, as a society, not only the state, everybody has to work and think and understand that how we will shift our efforts to reduce this. Because law can create a fear. That law can only intervene when the act has been done. Like one child is being brought into a broader load into a country or even a household,
Yeah.
then only law can intervene there. Law cannot intervene before that. But before that, a lot of things are happening. We have to go back and actually work in that level. Even the government also has to have a clear-cut policy on that. The Right to Education Act is our first policy, but at the same time, we need to have a clear-cut policy on the ICPS, because we do have ICPS system.
Right.
If you go through the ICPS document, it is like one of the last documents. But where is the money? Where is the system? You know, what kind of human resources we have generated to understand the children's needs? And
Like you're
We
also
don't
saying,
have-
like
I
Shubhendu,
think-
a multi-pronged.
I think let me just finish it. Hello.
Yeah, go on.
So we do actually focus on this IPS system, and
Yeah.
we need to have a lot of money. Instead of right now, every year it is coming down 10% to 20% the budget allocation.
Yeah.
So rather we need to have increase it to a level that we can actually have a proper system, and whatever the kind of residential facilities that IPS is providing, so that we can stop this child labor or child abuse, many things at our village level itself.
Right.
We see people are moving to urban areas, so then a lot of consolidation is taking place at the urban or industrial areas.
Thank you,
we
Reshmi.
can
Thank you.
stop it. So
Thank you.
various levels.
Thank you so much for your- Thank you so much for your perspective. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining the conversation. Sumedha ji, if you can hear me now. Okay, I think there seems to be a problem. Basu, you have heard a lot of experts, a lot of people who are working in this sector talking about this entire issue. What would be your message out there against child labor?
See, I was like, since I was like working with BBA and being a part of many campaigns and movement and all. So we were always trying to find out the solutions that how we can stop this child labor. So I was having an interview with some media, and then they says, "Hey Basu, you have written a book that is your From the Street of Kathmandu book." That's okay, it's very good. But now as a citizen,
Yeah.
how we can
Exactly.
stop child labor, how we can do kind of our work. I'd say it's very easy for each and every one. What we need to follow is we need to understand child labor. Like for example, everybody put bindi, right? So who is making bindi? Child labor, right? And we need to not.
Are you
buy
asking
that.
me to stop wearing a bindi?
But it doesn't have that shining stuff and all. But the bindi and embroidery,
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
very happy to have a very shiny stuff around. But we don't think that who's making this thing. So if we do something that even BBA did one thing like rug mark, the good weaving. I mean, they did a very good job. Now if it is rug mark, so it is child labor free one.
So
Right.
people have to be aware that
Aware
the
about-
products they are buying do
Yeah.
not involve
Yeah.
child labor. That's
And-
what you're saying.
Yeah, and one more thing. And
Sensitivity.
And one more thing I would like to. That question was very good. I mean, if she said I'm going in the auto, and then suddenly one child came, and then she or he
Begging.
begging.
Yeah.
So I said you should not give beg. It
Yeah.
means if you beg, if you give
Absolutely.
money, it means they are going to recruit more children.
Right.
And it means if their business is booming, so they will become more strong. So if you want to stop, don't give them. If children is selling something, don't buy from the children. So what happens if you see one ratio that I've been hearing for a long time, and I can see how much child labor ratio is and how much unemployment ratio is. So if you see that together, it will be in a balance. So if you take out the children from the work and give the job to these elders, so what they will get the minimum wage, right? So easily the 8,000 rupees or 9,000 rupees per month, that is minimum wage. So if one family is getting that much money, I think
One child is getting educated.
Educated.
Right,
So-
okay.
right.
Basu, thank you so much. That was a very nice way of putting it. A child who was out on the streets at 4 till he was almost 9. Somebody who was begging, pickpocketing, working as a rack picker, working in dhabas. I think it was wonderful to have you in the studio and
Thank you.
share your story with us. And I hope that through this conversation, a lot of us have been sensitized. And like you said,
and even
yeah,
this,
your last comments, Shubhendu.
And even this, like
Yeah.
I had this book. I mean, this book, which is like I have written. It is all my. I never thought to write a book. I was writing my pain. So
Yeah.
I used to write a journal. So suddenly it became a book. I think if
No, the
everybody.
fact that you've educated
Yeah.
yourself is
Right.
itself commendable, right? Shubhendu, your last comments.
CRY believes that uniformity of age should be brought into. As per
Right.
juvenile justice, it should be 18.
Yeah,
And all form of prohibition should be there.
yeah,
There should be enlarged definition of child labor. As I said, children in begging, children forced into prostitution traditionally. Then there should be, we should work with mindset changing.
mindset changing, exactly.
We need to understand
That
the
is what even all our online guests have
difference
said,
between
change
the
your
mind of
mindset.
child. It should start from family.
Right,
And
right.
it should go to across society.
Absolutely.
Then there should be proper social protection policy so that parents get educate spaces to take care of their children.
All right.
If all these things are not taken into consideration, mere bringing a law, mere having a seminar or discussion will not end
Right.
the millions of children.
All right.
They will be there.
Now we have to
Thank
wrap up the conversation in the studio. The conversation continues on the portal through your audio and video comments, your posts, and of course your tweets at hashtag India Post Live and @India Post Live. I would like to thank our online guest Hasina from Shillong. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Reshmi Bhaskaran of NEG Fire. Thank you so much. Shahbaz of the Haq Center for Child Rights. Thank you all so much for joining the conversation. Sumedha Kailash of Bachpan Bachao Andolan. Also, thank you so much, though we could not, we had an audio problem. However, today is the day that the Bachpan Bachao Andolan launched an anthem on child labor, and we are going to play that for you right now. Before that, I would like to thank Shubhendu and of course Basu for joining the conversation. The conversation continues on the portal. We are going to play this anthem for the first time on this portal. Please listen to it and please support it. Please support the fight that all of us are fighting against child labor. Thank you so much.
कल तक अपना बचपन बंधुआ था मालिक का, हंसने पर रोने पर पहरा था मालिक का, गिर भी थे सब सपने बेगाने थे अपने, अब अपने बचपन का सपनों का